Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching the stars through the main window. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of engines. They had been exploring space for 3 months now, looking for new planets and maybe other life forms. Jake never thought they would find aliens so soon. "Captain, we have something strange on the sensors down," said Lieutenant Amy Carter from her station. She was the ship's expert on alien life, though she had never seen any real aliens before. Her voice sounded worried. Jake walked over to look at her screen. "What is it, Amy?" "There are ships coming toward us. Big ones. I count at least 20 vessels, and they don't look like anything we've built." Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "They're coming from the direction of that red star system we marked yesterday." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was it. First contact with alien life. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child. Try to send them a message. Use the universal peace signals we prepared. Amy nodded and began transmitting. She sent mathematical patterns, pictures of humans, and peaceful greetings in every way they could think of. The alien ships kept coming. Closer. They were dark and looked like they were made from some kind of living material. Strange spikes stuck out from their hulls. "Sir, I'm not getting any response," Amy said, "but I am picking up some of their transmissions. The computer is trying to translate." "What are they saying?" Amy's face went pale. "Something about hunting and harvesting. The word prey keeps coming up." Before Jake could respond, the ship's alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere. "Captain!" shouted Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the weapons station. "They're firing at us." Strange green beams hit the New Horizon. The ship shook hard, and Jake had to grab onto a rail to stay standing. The lights flickered and some of the screens went dark. "Return fire," Jake ordered. Chris pressed his controls and their laser weapons shot back at the alien ships. The beams hit the dark hulls but seemed to do almost nothing. The alien ships didn't even slow down. "Our weapons aren't working, sir," Chris said. "It's like their ships are made of something that stops our lasers." More green beams hit them. This time, Jake heard metal breaking somewhere in the ship. The floor tilted as their engines started to fail. "Amy, send a message to Earth and the colonies. Tell them we found aliens and they're attacking. Send everything we've recorded." "Already. Doing it, Captain," Amy said, her fingers flying over her controls. Jake opened a channel to the whole ship. "All hands, this is the captain. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. Get to battle stations and prepare for boarding." But it was too late. Something hit their ship with a loud crash. Jake looked at the main screen and saw a huge alien ship right next to them. It had attached itself to their hull like a giant spider. "They're cutting through the outer door," reported Sergeant Dan Roberts over the comm. He was leading the ship's small group of Marines. "Whatever they're using goes through our metal like it's paper." "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "Maybe 2 minutes, sir." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. Amy was still trying to send messages to Earth. Chris was attempting to get their weapons working again. They were good people, and he was about to get them all killed or captured. "Amy, destroy all our computer files. Don't let them learn about Earth's location or our defenses." "But sir, if we do that..." "Do it now." Amy hesitated, then started deleting everything. Jake knew it was the right choice, but it hurt to destroy all their research and discoveries. The sounds of fighting came from somewhere deep in the ship. Dan's Marines were trying to hold off the aliens, but Jake could hear the weapons fire getting closer to the bridge. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "I'm picking up transmissions from Titan Station. The aliens are attacking there too." Jake's heart sank. Titan Station was home to over 5,000 people, including families and children. If the aliens were attacking there with the same force they used on his ship, those people didn't have a chance. "Sir," Dan's voice came over the comm, sounding panicked. "You need to see these things. They're like nothing I've ever..." The transmission cut off with the sound of weapons fire. A few seconds later, the bridge doors exploded inward. Jake and his crew turned to face whatever was coming through the smoke. The aliens were tall, maybe 7 feet, and looked like they were built for killing. Their skin was dark and seemed to move like it was alive. Spikes grew from their arms and shoulders. Their faces had too many teeth and eyes that glowed yellow. They carried weapons that looked like they were made from bones and metal fused together. One of the aliens, bigger than the others, stepped forward. When it spoke, Jake was surprised to hear words he could understand, though the voice sounded like grinding metal. "Soft things from Garden World," the alien said. "We are Kithera. We hunt. You are prey. We come in peace," Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady. "We don't want to fight." The big alien made a sound that might have been laughing. "Peace is weakness. Your world grows weak things. Easy hunt." "How do you know about our world? We study you, watch your signals, see your soft bodies and soft world. No acid rain, no death plants, no poison air. Your kind should not have reached stars." Jake realized the aliens had been watching human broadcasts, learning about Earth. They saw humanity's peaceful planet and thought it made humans weak. "Take the ones that still breathe," the big alien ordered the others. "Study them. Learn how soft things made starships. Then we decide if we keep them as slaves or end them." Jake felt something sharp hit his neck. The world started to spin and get dark. As he fell to the floor, he saw Amy and Chris falling too. The last thing he heard was the alien leader talking to someone on his comm device. "War Chief Jektar to Fleet. Garden World things captured. Their technology is simple, but functional. Begin harvest of their colonies. This will be easy hunting." Jake tried to stay awake, tried to think of some way to fight back, but the alien drug was too strong. As consciousness left him, he wondered if humanity had just met its end. The aliens were right about one thing. Humans had evolved on an easy world compared to wherever these Kethera came from. Maybe that did make them too weak to survive in a galaxy full of predators. The last thought Jake had before everything went black was a prayer that somehow Earth would be ready for what was coming. Jake woke up in a metal cage that barely fit his body. His head hurt and his mouth felt dry. The air smelled wrong, like chemicals and something rotten. Around him, he could hear other people moaning and talking quietly. "Captain, are you awake?" It was Amy's voice from somewhere nearby. Jake looked around and saw dozens of cages filled with humans. The room was dark except for strange blue lights that hurt his eyes. The walls looked like they were made of the same living material as the alien ships. "I'm here, Amy. Are you hurt?" "No, sir, just scared. Chris is in the cage next to me. We've been awake for about an hour." Jake tried to stand up but hit his head on the top of the cage. Everything was built for creatures taller than humans. "Have you seen any of the aliens?" "A few came through earlier. They took Dr. Brooks and 2 other people for something they called soft flesh study." Jake felt sick. Dr. Lisa Brooks was one of the smartest people on his ship. If the aliens were experimenting on humans, she was probably trying to figure out how to escape or fight back. "Captain," said a new voice. It was Sam Johnson, the ship's mechanic. His cage was across the room. "I've been listening to the aliens talk. Their language is strange, but I'm starting to understand some words." "What are they saying?" "They keep talking about how confused they are. Something about humans being wrong somehow. They expected us to be different." Before Jake could ask more questions, a door opened with a wet sliding sound. 2 Kithera aliens walked in, followed by Dr. Brooks. She looked tired but not hurt. The aliens pushed her toward an empty cage. "Lisa," Jake called out. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Jake, but we need to talk. I learned something important." She looked at the aliens who were leaving the room. "They don't understand us at all." After the aliens left, Dr. Brooks moved as close to Jake's cage as she could. "Jake, these creatures are completely wrong about humans. They think we're hiding deadly weapons in our bodies." "What do you mean?" "They come from a world called Zerion Prime. Everything there tries to kill everything else. The plants are poisonous. The air burns your skin. It rains acid. Animals have natural weapons like poison claws and acid blood." Sam leaned forward in his cage. "So they think we must be the same way?" "Exactly. They can't believe any species could reach space without being deadly. They keep testing my blood and skin, looking for toxins or acids. When they don't find any, they think I'm hiding them somehow." Amy spoke up from her cage. That's why their weapons and ships are so strong. They're built to survive on a world that's constantly trying to kill them. Dr. Brooks nodded. Their entire society is based on survival. They don't cooperate like humans do. Each alien only cares about staying alive. They work together only when they have to. But that means, Jake started to understand. It means they don't know how to deal with creatures like us. We evolved to work together, to help each other. That's completely foreign to them, Jake thought about this. What else did you learn? Their technology is amazing, but it's all designed for one thing: surviving their death world. Their ships can handle acid storms and plasma lightning, but they're not built efficiently. They use 10 times more power than they need for simple things. Sam got excited. That's why our weapons barely hurt them. But it also means their systems might have weaknesses they don't even know about. Dr. Brooks smiled for the first time since Jake had seen her. The alien who was studying me kept asking why humans don't have backup organs or poison glands. He couldn't understand how we survived long enough to build spaceships. Did you tell him? I tried to explain about cooperation and cities and farming, but he just got more confused. To them, working together means you're weak because you can't survive alone. Amy laughed quietly. So they think we're deadly, but we're hiding it, and they also think we're too weak to survive. They can't make up their minds. That's exactly right, Dr. Brooks said. And here's the important part. They're scared of us. Everyone in the cages went quiet. Scared? Jake asked. Think about it. They've been watching our broadcasts for who knows how long. They see a species from a garden world that somehow built starships and spread to other planets. In their minds, that should be impossible unless we're incredibly dangerous. Sam nodded slowly. So they attacked us first because they were afraid of what we might do. And now they're even more afraid because they can't figure out how we're dangerous. They keep expecting us to reveal some hidden weapon or ability. Jake felt something he hadn't felt since waking up in the cage. Hope. Lisa, when you were with them, did you notice anything about their equipment or ship? Yes. Everything is overbuilt. Their computers run hot because they're designed to work in extreme heat. Their weapons are made to punch through armor that can stop acid, so they waste enormous amounts of energy. And their life support systems. She paused, thinking. What about life support? It's completely sterile. No bacteria, no viruses, nothing. On their world, any tiny organism could be deadly, so they kill everything they can't see. Amy caught on first. But humans are full of bacteria. Good bacteria that helps us digest food and stay healthy. Right. And I'll bet our bacteria could cause problems in their sterile systems. They've never had to deal with organisms that aren't trying to kill them. Jake started to see possibilities. What about their social structure? How do they organize themselves? Very simply. The strongest leads, everyone else follows. No committees, no discussions, no planning sessions, just orders from the top down. They can't understand how humans make group decisions. Sam was getting excited. Captain, if they don't know how to handle cooperation, and their technology has weaknesses they don't see and they're scared of us already, then maybe we're not as helpless as we thought, Jake finished. Dr. Brooks looked around at all the cages. There are about 200 humans on this ship. On their world, 200. Creatures working together would be impossible. They can't imagine what we might accomplish if we cooperate. So what do we do? Amy asked. Jake thought for a moment. We do what humans do best. We work together, we think creatively, and we use their own assumptions against them. But how? I don't know yet, but Lisa's right. They're expecting us to be something we're not. Maybe it's time to give them what they expect, just not in the way they think. Dr. Brooks smiled. The funny thing is, they keep calling us soft garden world things like it's an insult. They have no idea that growing up on an easy world is exactly what made us adaptable enough to survive in space. Jake looked around at his crew and the other captured humans. For the first time since the attack, he felt like they had a chance. The Kythera were powerful, but they were also trapped by their own thinking. They couldn't imagine enemies who didn't follow the rules of their death world. Maybe it was time to teach them that humans didn't play by those rules. The escape started 3 days later when Sam Johnson figured out how to break his cage lock. The Kithera had built the locks to stop creatures with claws and acid blood, but they never thought about someone who understood simple mechanics. The locking pin is just metal, Sam whispered to Jake in the darkness. No fancy alien technology. I can bend it with this piece of wire I pulled from the wall. Jake watched as Sam worked quietly. The wire was from a damaged light fixture that the aliens hadn't bothered to fix properly. How long will it take? Give me 10 minutes. Once I'm out, I can free the others. Dr. Brooks was listening from her cage nearby. Remember, we need to move slow and quiet. If they catch us too early, we won't have time to put our plan into action. The plan was simple but risky. While the aliens studied human prisoners, the humans had been studying the aliens right back. They had learned the ship's daily routine, mapped out the guard patterns, and most importantly, figured out where the critical systems were located. Sam's cage opened with a soft click. He crawled out carefully and started working on Jake's lock. Within an hour, 20 humans were free and moving through the ship's dark corridors. Remember, Jake whispered to the group, we're not trying to fight them directly. We're going to use their own technology against them. The first target was the ship's air system. Dr. Brooks led a small team to the life support area, while Jake and Sam headed for the computer center. Amy took another group toward the food production area. Dr. Brooks had brought something special, a small sample of her own saliva in a piece of cloth. On Earth, human spit was harmless. But on a sterile alien ship that had never encountered Earth bacteria, it might as well be a biological weapon. She found the main air intake and carefully placed the cloth inside. The ship's air system would spread human bacteria throughout the vessel within hours. The aliens' bodies weren't ready for organisms that weren't trying to kill them, but weren't exactly friendly either. Meanwhile, Jake and Sam reached the computer center. The Kithera had excellent security against hacking and viruses, but they hadn't planned for simple sabotage. Sam started disconnecting power cables in a specific pattern. Their computers are built to handle electromagnetic storms, Sam explained quietly. But if I cross these power lines in the right way, I can make the system think it's under attack. Will that shut it down? Better. It'll activate their emergency protocols. The ship will think it's flying through an acid storm and switch to survival mode. That'll slow down everything and make them use backup systems. Jake smiled. The aliens' own paranoia about their Deathworld would work against them. Amy's team had reached the food production area. The Kithera grew their food in sterile tanks using chemicals and artificial light. Amy had a different plan. She started adding small amounts of water from the ship's bathroom sink to the food tanks. The water contained human skin cells and bacteria that would grow in the alien food supply. It wouldn't poison the aliens immediately, but it would make them sick over time and make their food taste terrible. As the humans worked, strange things started happening throughout the ship. The air began to smell different. Computer screens flickered and showed error messages. The aliens' food started to develop odd colors and smells. The first Kithera to get really sick was a guard who had been breathing near the air intake. He started coughing and wheezing, something that never happened on their sterile ship. Within hours, other aliens were having the same problem. War Chief Jektar was furious. He called his officers to the command center, not knowing that Jake was hiding in the air vents above, listening to everything. The soft things are doing something, Jektar growled. Our ship is becoming sick. How is this possible? Perhaps they have released their hidden poison, suggested one officer. We knew garden world creatures must have secret weapons. Then why are they not dead? Why are we the ones becoming weak? Jake almost laughed. The aliens still couldn't understand that humans weren't trying to poison them on purpose. The bacteria that made the Kithera sick were just part of normal human life. Another officer spoke up. War Chief, 3 more ships in the fleet are reporting similar problems. The humans on those vessels must be using the same poison. Jake felt a surge of hope. Other human prisoners on other ships were doing the same things. Without any communication between the ships, humans everywhere were naturally working together and using the same tactics. And our computer systems are failing, added a third officer. We keep getting warnings about acid storms and electromagnetic attacks. but our sensors show normal space. The garden world things are more dangerous than we thought, Jektar said. But they are still few and we are many. Double the guards on the prisoners. Find their poison weapons and destroy them. Jake crawled back through the air vents to where his people were hiding. The aliens were looking for poison weapons that didn't exist, which meant they wouldn't find the real source of their problems. Dr. Brooks had more good news. I've been watching the aliens who got sick. They're not dying, just getting weak and confused. Their immune systems don't know how to handle Earth bacteria that isn't trying to kill them. What about the computer problems? Sam asked. Working perfectly. Half their systems are running in emergency mode now. They're using 3 times more power than normal, and their communications are getting scrambled. Amy arrived with her team. The food situation is getting interesting. Some of the aliens are refusing to eat because it smells wrong to them. Others are getting stomach problems. Jake nodded. Good, but we need to do more. They're starting to take us seriously, which means they'll increase security. I have an idea, Dr. Brooks said. We've been thinking about this wrong. We're trying to damage their ship, but what if we make them damage it themselves? How? Their emergency systems are designed for their death world. What if we trigger more of them? Make the ship think it's under attack by multiple threats that don't exist? Sam got excited. I can overload their sensors with false readings, make them think the ship is being hit by acid rain, electromagnetic storms, and temperature changes all at once. And I can introduce more biological elements into their air system, Dr. Brooks added. Not to hurt them, but to make their detectors think there are dangerous organisms everywhere. Jake saw the plan coming together. So we make them so paranoid about threats that don't exist, they'll tear their own ship apart trying to defend against them. Exactly. And the best part is, the more we do this, the more convinced they'll become that we're incredibly dangerous. They'll expect even worse attacks and get more desperate. As they prepared for the next phase of their plan, Jake realized something important. The humans weren't winning because they were stronger or smarter than the aliens. They were winning because they thought differently. The Kithera could only imagine enemies that followed the rules of their death world: direct attacks, poison weapons, individual survival. They couldn't understand enemies who worked together, who used creativity instead of force, who turned the aliens' own fears against them. Jake looked at his people working together in the darkness and felt proud. They were about to teach the Kithera why soft garden world creatures had conquered the stars. The end began when War Chief Jektar made his biggest mistake. In his desperation to stop the humans, he decided to gas the entire ship with the strongest poison his people had. Jake and his team were hiding in the engineering section when the alarms went off. Red lights flashed everywhere and the ship's speakers made terrible screeching sounds. All Kithera to protected areas, came Jektar's voice. Releasing death gas to kill the garden world poison creatures. Sam looked worried. Captain, if they're using their strongest poison, we're in trouble. But Dr. Brooks was smiling. No, Sam, this is perfect. They're about to make everything worse for themselves. How? Think about it. They're going to flood their own ship with poison that's designed to kill everything from their death world. But we're not from their death world. Jake started to understand. You mean their poison might not work on us? Maybe, maybe not. But here's the real problem for them. They're going to kill all the Earth bacteria that's been making them sick. Amy looked confused. Isn't that what they want? No, because they don't understand what the bacteria was really doing. It wasn't poisoning them. It was just making their immune systems work harder. When they kill all of it with their death gas, their bodies will think the threat is over. So? Dr. Brooks pulled out another piece of cloth. So then I introduce new bacteria. Their immune systems will be tired and confused. This time, instead of just making them sick, it might shut down their immune systems completely. Jake felt a chill. Lisa, we're not trying to kill them. We won't have to. Once their immune systems stop working properly, their own sterile ship will become dangerous to them. They'll start getting sick from things that were never problems before. The poison gas started flowing through the ship's air system. The humans put on breathing masks they had taken from emergency stations. The gas smelled like burning metal and made their eyes water, but it didn't kill them like it would have killed creatures from the Kythera homeworld. All around the ship, the aliens were celebrating. They thought they had finally killed the dangerous garden world creatures and their mysterious poison weapons. "Death gas successful," reported an officer to Jektar. "All biological threats eliminated. Good. Now we can return to normal operations and study the dead soft things." But normal operations didn't return. Instead, everything got worse. The first problem came when the aliens tried to restart their food production. The death gas had killed everything in the growing tanks, including the beneficial organisms that helped process the alien food. When they tried to grow new food, it came out wrong, bitter, and hard to digest. Then the ship's biological systems started failing. The Kythera used living materials in many of their ship parts. The death gas had damaged these materials, causing walls to become brittle and air filters to stop working properly. But the worst problem was what Dr. Brooks had predicted. She had carefully placed new bacterial samples throughout the ship after the gas cleared. The aliens' immune systems, tired from fighting the first batch of Earth bacteria, couldn't handle the new invasion. Within 2 days, most of the Kythera crew was seriously sick. They had fevers, stomach problems, and couldn't think clearly. Their own sterile environment had become their enemy. War Chief Jektar was one of the sickest. He could barely stand as he tried to command his failing ship. "How is this possible?" he asked his medical officer. "We killed all the poison creatures. We used enough death gas to sterilize a moon." "I don't know, War Chief. It's like the garden world things are attacking us from beyond death. Maybe their spirits are haunting our ship." Jake, listening from the air vents, almost felt sorry for them. The aliens were so locked into their death world, thinking that they couldn't understand simple biology. Meanwhile, the other ships in the Kythera fleet were having similar problems. Human prisoners on every vessel had used the same tactics without any coordination. The aliens couldn't believe that creatures from different ships were working together without even talking to each other. "War Chief," came a weak voice over the communicator. "This is Battle Leader Groktar from Ship 7. My crew we are all sick. The soft things have cursed us somehow. We cannot fight." Similar reports came from 8 other ships. The entire Kythera fleet was falling apart, and they still didn't understand why. That's when Captain Jake Morrison made his move. Along with Amy, Sam, and Dr. Brooks, he walked right into the command center where Jektar was trying to stay conscious at his command chair. The few aliens still on duty were too sick to stop them. Jake picked up the communication device and sent a message to the entire fleet. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel New Horizon. I am speaking to all Kythera ships." Jektar looked up with his glowing yellow eyes, now dim with sickness. "Impossible, we killed you." "No, you didn't. And that's your problem. You keep thinking we're like creatures from your world, but we're not." Jake activated the fleet-wide communication system. "Kythera fleet, you are all sick because you don't understand Earth biology. What you think are poison weapons are just normal bacteria that live with humans peacefully." "Lies," Jektar whispered. "It's not lies. Your people are dying because you made your ships too clean. You killed everything, including the things that help you stay healthy. Then you tried to kill us with poison that doesn't work on creatures from our world." Dr. Brooks stepped forward. "War Chief, I can help your people get better. But first, you need to understand something. Humans didn't become dangerous by surviving a death world like yours. We became dangerous by learning to work together on a peaceful world." Jektar's eyes went wide. It was the first time he truly understood what he was facing. "Your strength made you weak," Jake continued. "You're so good at surviving alone that you can't imagine creatures who survive by helping each other. That's why you lost." Amy activated the navigation controls. "We're sending your fleet the coordinates back to your home system. Take your ships and go home. Don't come back to human space." But we are the Kythera. We are the greatest hunters in the galaxy. How did soft garden world things defeat us?" Sam answered him. "Because we're not trying to be the strongest. We're trying to be the smartest, the most creative, and the most cooperative. Your Deathworld never taught you how to handle enemies like that. Jektar looked around at his dying crew and his failing ship. Everything he had believed about strength and survival was wrong. The weak garden world creatures had beaten him without firing a shot or using a single weapon. We will go, he said finally. But this is not possible. This should not be possible. Jake felt pity for the alien leader. On your world, maybe. It wouldn't be possible. But we're not on your world anymore. Out here in space, the rules are different. One by one, the Kythera ships turned away from human space and began the long journey home. The aliens were still sick, still confused, and still couldn't believe they had been defeated by creatures they thought were weak. As Jake watched the alien fleet disappear into the distance, he realized something important. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't violence or advanced technology. It was the ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to work together even when facing the impossible. The Kythera would probably never understand that lesson, but they would never forget it either.